the first order, or the first meeting of the new St. Albans Town Select Board to order. Welcome Brian Delorier as a board member of 3 years. Brian, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to start tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. You can mute yourself, you can have yourself unmuted, whatever you want to do, but let's say the pledge and kick it off.
That's good. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
with
liberty,
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for
for all.
Brian, since you've taken over for Stanley in that term, you also get to lead us in future pledges. We know that all your years of training as a school teacher will be put to good work. So Brian's the new pledge leader. That works for you, Brian.
I don't hear a second. I don't hear a second for that, so.
Well, I think we need to elect the chair before you
Enough.
can.
I was opening,
sounds good.
trying to open the nominating process for pledge leader. So we have to elect a chair and vice chair and adopt our rules of procedure. So at this time, we'd like to open the floor for nominations for chair for the year. If anyone has a nomination to make,
I would move that we elect Brendan Deso chair of the St. Albans Town Select Board.
I'll second it.
thank you both very much. Any further nominations? Hearing none. Any additional discussion? I have a bit. So you might have seen on Facebook over the weekend, Julie and I are expecting our first baby, a little boy. He's coming in mid-September.
Yay.
This year will be a different year for me as your chair, and I appreciate the opportunity to return for a third year. I will say that we have done an excellent job at the administrative level at hiring qualified people to help lead our team. And the amount of work and, the feeling of the need to check in with our staff for me has dissipated very much since about November on. And Carrie, you've done a remarkable job hiring qualified individuals with Corey and Megan, and we look forward to seeing who you hire for stormwater coordinator. I will say this feels like a new year. It feels different. Having Brian here and a younger board. When I was first elected, the board before us had an average age of 65, and they were all men. So the community's electorate has put some new folks in, and it's really an honor to serve with you all. So with that said, you all know my big news. If anyone, I guess we'll call the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So let's open the nominations for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Jessica as vice chair.
I would second if I could, but I can't.
Yep, I'll second it.
Thank you, Brian. Any other nominations? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you very much, Jessica. Glad to be a tandem with you again this year. It's going to be an awesome year. It's going to take a lot of teamwork to get what we have in front of us done, but we got a town hall passed 2-1 in the middle of a pandemic. And Jess, if you have anything to add.
No, I'm excited about this year. I think we had a great last year. But with Stan leaving, I think I'm the oldest member of the board now, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. But yeah, times have changed.
That was enlightening right there. I just had like a oh wow come right over me.
I think I'm the oldest one by far of all of you, so it's okay.
Carrie, I thought you were like 29 and a half?
That's it. Yeah,
Just-
my kid just
yeah.
turned 30, but it's all good.
That's all right. It's only numbers, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. So now we're on to our warrants. So who would like to be the warrant
No.
reader?
No, excuse me, your rules of procedure, please.
Oh, sorry, Jen.
It's okay.
Catching me. I'm not even off my first agenda item in my 3rd year, and you're already catching me on something I missed. Thank God for great staff. So our rules of procedure. We have the same set as last year. We'll all need to authorize them. Does anybody have any suggested changes, or would anyone like to make a motion to adopt for the year?
I'll make a motion to adopt the rules of procedure for the year.
I'll second.
Thank you both. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. For the record, I want to thank Al Vogel for all the work he put into this document. It's come a long way in the last 4 years, and you know, Al, he put in a lot of hours late into the evening to get this right, and the fact that we haven't had to amend it for the last couple of years just shows that, you know, his efforts paid off.
Brendan, we'll need with all the warrants and the liquor control, we'll need the board to sign the rules of procedure. It'll be included with all the items that you have to sign in Anna's office.
Perfect. Everybody's got that. Okay, so let's move on to agenda item number 3, the warrants. Gary, how did we envision handling that with Stanley gone? I know we haven't had a time to talk about that. Would you like to read them, or would you like a board member to continue to?
It doesn't make it makes no difference to me, but I have it in paper form, and I think Anna does too. So if you want one of us to read it, I can read it, or you can appoint somebody.
I think that would be a healthy transition, is to ask staff to read them aloud and what account, and then we can make a motion to approve. And if we have any questions, that'd be appropriate.
I can do the general warrant. Anna has the other warrant, so.
It wasn't included in my packet, so I don't have them, but I did email them to all the board members.
Gary, you've got the other warrants. They're in your packet.
Well, I can do it tonight, and we can figure it out next week. So the
yes, I
general
do.
warrants.
Nope, I have them all. You're correct.
I just want to make a suggestion too before we jump in. I'm wondering, you know, since Stan had he was really focused especially on the general fund. I'm wondering if we could maybe either have one kind of warrant assigned to each of us, so that way we can be, you know, kind of focused on one area. And if we have that could be one person to kind of do, whether it's not necessarily like digging in makes it sound a lot bigger, but you know, being focused and being able to articulate changes and differences in that warrant just might help. And we can rotate through that too potentially, but I think it might help us all get a better sense of the warrants.
That's a great idea, Aaron. Why don't we take assignments now? I would game for doing payroll. Anna and I are on the phone on a weekly basis, so if I have questions, that would be fairly easy. I don't know if Brian or Aaron or Jonathan who would like to do the general fund on a regular basis. I know tonight's is a little high because we have a quarterly payment to the St. Albans Police Department of almost $186,000.
I'll do the general fund.
Okay, so from now on, Jonathan's going to do the general fund. If that works for everybody, I can handle payroll. Aaron, would you like to do any miscellaneous warrants for, you know?
I'd be doing infrastructure development or industrial park or like I'm.
And we can probably ask that Carrie do any infrastructure development, because usually it's all related to a project and a certain step we've taken. But like the industrial park warrants, sometimes those get a little out of whack when we have visits from Drumac in the middle of the night. And we thank Alan for dealing with all those visits. Yeah, let's try that. I love that, Aaron. It's a great idea. Make it a real team effort and have our own little areas that we focus on and come together to explain it to one another on a bi-weekly basis. That sounds like a great plan. Carrie, tonight, do you want to walk us through?
I can. So I'm going to start with just a brief, we're not going to do this for everything, but the general fund warrants, as a reminder, go through about 4 different layers of approval before they get to the select board. You know, at the base level, the department head does the intake of that. Well, actually, Lisa actually gets it, but then forwards it to the department. The department reviews it, approves it if it's appropriate, works with some vendors if it's not. Then it goes to Lisa, who inputs it into the system. Anna reviews them, and then I review them. And then once I'm done reviewing them, I pre-authorize them, send them to Anna, and then Anna sends them to the select board. So I guess while I don't mind at all select board approval, I'm not sure it's necessary. So I guess I'd love to revisit this in 3 months and find out if it's been worthwhile to do it, because it already does get extensive review. And Anna and Lisa, like every step of that way, we're not afraid to say, like, why are you getting this? What is this for? If it doesn't seem appropriate, it doesn't smell right, you know? And also we added another layer. We actually, anything over $350 requires a purchase. Well, I always say that wrong. What's it called, Jen? Purchase order?
It's $250 for purchase
$250, I'm sorry.
request.
Purchase request. It's super low. So anything like that requires an explanation as to why it's being charged, how it's being paid for too. So that requires my approval even before it gets to Lisa. So
Alan, you must fill out 6 of those a day.
Keep in mind, that's the internal control part as far as the auditors are concerned.
Yep.
Aaron, did you have a?
Yeah, I just had a question. So Carrie, you said exploring whether it makes sense for us to continue to approve them. So the step that we do of reviewing the warrants and making a motion to approve the warrants, like that's not.
Oh, you know,
Oh, no,
I'm sorry,
it's necessary.
You have to approve the warrants, but
Okay.
you don't have to have a special person assigned to analyze them, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's not like I think that it's necessarily, I think Stan just was so much more, like he just expressed a lot more knowledge around it. And I think because he did that and it helped explain it, I think just for all of us to just get a better sense of what it is we're looking at, just an education process, less than.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's all good. I just, for Brian's benefit too, just to understand that's what every bill goes through.
Okay.
All right, so I will start with the general fund warrant, which is in the amount of $261,213.53. The biggest bill on this warrant is the quarterly payment to the St. Albans Police Department. It does exclude the street crimes unit. In case anybody was doing the math, that's $185,000. We also pay monthly AmCare. The AmCare bill in this week's warrants is $12,391. So other than that, I didn't do an analysis. We did have 4 more charges for salt. We are going through salt like crazy, so we're hoping this stretch of weather almost ends our use of salt, but we know it's Vermont. So
we have quite a few thousand into Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And lots of things.
And then the benefits, that's correct. Are there any questions on any of the other warrants?
Just this one in particular.
Well, I meant any of the other warrants within this bill, but all right, so I guess you can call for a motion.
Yeah. Anybody would like to move that we approve this warrant?
I'll make a motion that we approve the general fund warrant.
I'll second it.
In the amount.
Oh, sorry, in the amount of, such small type. Okay.
It is.
$261,213.53.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, Brendan, you're muted.
Why don't we move on to both payrolls?
Well, wait,
You need to
we
vote.
You have to vote on that general fund.
All right, all in favor? Sorry,
Aye.
Aye.
can't keep my head on straight today. It was a long day at work. All right, so payroll, March 12th and March 5th.
So the payroll week of March 12th is $19,797.12. Not a lot was different on that. One's a pretty typical payroll week. We pay about $5,000 in taxes. March 5th, $21,242.31. That was a little high, some overtime, some DPW on-call pay, and again, about $5,000 in taxes, withholdings. So I like someone to make a motion to approve those 2 payrolls.
I also paid the election workers.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had that in my notes too. Town meeting day.
The motion to
I'll make a motion. We approve the payroll warrants for March 12th and March 5th.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Carrie, how about industrial park, and then we'll end with infrastructure development.
Right. So the industrial park warrant, $1,125.90. Green Mountain Power makes up 3 of them at $22, $40, and $863 and change. And V-Trans had a $200 invoice for that. So that makes $1,125.90. And the industrial park is something that we is cost neutral to the town. We bill it back to those users for Brian's benefit. I'll need a motion.
Question, what was the $200 invoice to V-Trans?
That was for the road lights, and there's a sign light at each end of the industrial park when you go in.
The V-Trans invoice was for sign lights?
Yeah, sign lights.
That was GMP. There's a V-Trans invoice in here for $200.
$200. $100 for a road light at each end of the industrial park directing you in, and then a sign light.
Okay, fair enough.
I know it seems odd, but
Anybody have any other questions? I'm gonna take a motion.
Make a motion. We approve the industrial park warrant for $1,125.90 dated March 15th, 2021.
Second that.
You're muted, Brendan.
All in favor? I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this thing with the space bar, and I'm in a different window trying to read the packet. And it's not working. All in favor, please signify by
Aye.
saying aye.
Aye.
I've had a really long day. Last
Right.
warrant, thank
so the
God.
last one is the infrastructure development warrant for $12,635.62. It's made up of a bill from our lawyer for the closing, which happened on the Brown parcel of land, Sanborn Head, which was our geotech services, and Peterson Consulting. So the Sanborn Head was $9,631, and the Peterson Consulting invoice was $1,779. We needed the geotech to study the ground before foundation plans were finalized, and Peterson Consulting, that was part of his bid from before, to help us with the RFP process and RFQ process. Request for proposals for town hall.
Right. So, anybody like to make a motion to accept this warrant?
I'll make a motion. We approve the warrant for the infrastructure development fund, I guess, warrant for $12,635.62 dated March 15th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to warrants. Anybody
need
have any
minutes?
corrections? Oh my God. Sorry, Jen. I swear to God, I haven't had a single thing to drink at all. We've had a really, really long day. So we have March 1st, 2021 in front of us. Brian, you were in the audience, but you weren't on, so we're going to ask you to recuse yourself from this one vote.
Mhm.
So, have Monday, March 1st, 2021. It looked fine to me. Anybody have any corrections? Okay, seeing everybody shake their head no, we thank Jen again for great work and ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion. We approve the minutes of March 1st, 2021.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh my God.
It's gonna get worse, Brendan.
I know. I know.
Karen, did you second that?
I did second it, yeah.
Thank you.
She did.
Yep.
I cut her off and called for the vote without a second, so that's mistake number 37. Tonight, if anybody's keeping track at home. So now we're on to agenda item number 4, public comments, usually number 4. Okay, that's number 38 for the scoreboard. So agenda item number 5, public comment. Anybody here that would like to make a comment? Hearing nobody, let's move on to agenda item number 6, the Liquor Control Board, in which case we'll need a motion to recess as a select board and to convene as the Liquor Control Board.
I'll make a motion that we recess as the select board. We recess the select board meeting and convene as the Liquor Control Board.
Get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. So Liquor Control Board, we have some 2021 license renewals, 3 for Bronson's Landing, first class, third class, outside consumption, St. Albans Diner, first class, and the Burton Island Concession Store, second class. Anna, any reportable issues out of these licenses?
Nothing, no.
All right.
Just
Asking the,
What?
quick question, Brendan.
yes,
Just briefly, first class, second class, third class. What does that mean? What does that entail?
Oh, God. Okay, first class is a restaurant. Second class, I believe, is just a store. They don't sell food, they just sell. And then the outside consumption permit is they can do like weddings and bar mitzvahs and all that fun stuff.
Got it. Okay, that's simple enough.
And what's third
Brian,
class?
Oh, gosh. Third class, I think it's like the Legion, where they don't sell food or they just host things and sell alcohol.
let's pull this.
What's that?
All right, so
It should
anybody
be
have
on
any?
it should be on the top of your forms. I'm sorry if I screwed up on that.
Okay, Anna, you do a great job. I know that's not a. I'm just trying to find on the internet the definition. I'm not having any luck. We'll have to ask the chair of liquor and lottery, Martin.
It's on the top of your forms that oh no, it isn't, because I didn't email you the liquor licenses. I'm sorry.
Right.
All right,
Got it?
I am looking still. We have to ask. We'll have to
DLC.
ask. Yeah, I know. We'll have to get to the Board of Liquor and Lottery and ask Chairman Marty Manahan why we can't find. Establishments that intend to serve spirits must also apply for a third-class license. So third class is just to serve spirits.
Yeah,
Just
like
ales.
the American Legion, and that's why they
Oh, we're
have to
looking
have
at-
a second class and a first class, because they do functions.
Now we have an answer, Brian. Thank you for your.
That's perfect.
Question.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming they're doing the same thing that they've done in the past.
They did
fine. If you
last
were-
year, exactly.
Okay.
It's
You
just
remember- You remember
It's a-
Carrie and Anna, John Montague, when he owned the Wooden Nickel, came here and got us to approve outside consumption for that location. It's now Bronson's Landing, so that he could host outside parties and serve.
Mhm.
So Brian, it can be very organic how these licenses come to be. Literally had business owners who now work for the town come to us and ask us to and their licensing to help them.
And then they have to get state approval.
true. And there's really only two businesses in St. Albans Town that have that third class. I think it's the VFW and on Lake Road and the American Legion on Para Drive.
Okay, so does anybody have any other questions about liquor licenses? Right. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve these licenses?
I'll make a motion. We approve the liquor licenses as presented.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was perfect, Jonathan. Thank you.
Well done. All right, so now let's adjourn as the Liquor Control Board and reconvene as the Select Board.
I'll make a motion to adjourn as the Liquor Control Board and reconvene as the Select Board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Carrie, take it away and let me mute for a while. I need it. I'm on like number 42.
I know, we're having fun, just getting started. So the first part under town manager is a town hall update, and in your packets, Corey provided a brief update on, actually it was a really great update on the analytics of how we ran our public campaign and education campaign. So I don't know if you want to go over that briefly, Corey, like a couple sentences, but it was well done. It's 2 pages. I love that we reached a lot of people.
Yeah, so I just wanted to memorialize the effort we put in. You guys spent more than you typically had to reach out to voters with our direct mail campaign. Some adjustments that we made along the way from what I proposed to you in December, but ultimately, had we done a statistical analysis off our last 10 years, the best we could have hoped for was 1,257 voters realistically. But with you guys deciding to mail every voter their ballot, we were able to get to 1,880 voters, which is an 86% increase from our average turnout and a 50% increase from our statistical high likelihood. Ultimately, at the bottom, second page, I also put the 5 questions on the town hall you put on. Removing probably the outlier of keep the town hall in the bay, because that included folks who wanted to build a new town hall and didn't want to build a new town hall. This was your highest performing vote with a roughly 68% of the electorate voting in favor, where you were sitting in the high 50s before. So that probably being much more likely a result of the efforts we put forward to educate voters. So strong vote, strong turnout, all around pretty good. Happy to answer any questions, but I just want to memorialize our effort in case if anybody ever says, how effective was that spend? I think we can point to evidence that it was pretty effective and help increase turnout along with vote by mail.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, so with that, we're going to move to the next section, which is why we have a couple extra guests tonight. This was a great idea by Brendan to bring the select board up to speed with what our building committee's been doing for the past few months. And now that we have an approval to build a town hall, I'm going to have Jesse start. Jesse Robbins has been awesome the last few months, doing some things he expected to do and doing a lot of things he didn't expect to do. But he's helped us get to this point. He works for Freeman French Freeman, or FFF as we call it often. So he's going to give us an overview, including what we really want to know, what color are the carpets and the walls. And then he'll segue it over to Hunter, who can answer and review some of our budget questions. Hunter works for Peterson Consulting, and Hunter did a awesome job with a short amount of time to get us that estimate before our town meeting day question or town hall question was put on the ballot, just for a little framework. And with that, I'll let Jesse go. He promises he has some pretty exciting pictures to share.
Sure. Thanks everybody for having me, and thanks to the building committee. It's been a really great team overall. Hoping that somebody can enable screen sharing so that I can share some of those pictures. I am ready to go when that's on.
I can just make you host and you can make me host again.
Okay, I can do that.
Work.
Yep. All right, so share the correct screen. So it's probably an image that people have seen before of the rendering that we did. This was early on, back when we were doing schematic design, and I think we had a vote from you guys to carry on to more of the design work. But the building is, this is looking to the northwest at the site. I'll show you the site plan in a minute. The building is primarily brick with a stone base on the public wing. Big fir beam that says Town of St. Albans on it. That's going to be visible from the road. standing seam roof visible from the road to kind of give it some presence, but not an overwhelming building, all on 1 story, so there's no elevator required. Just zooming out on this sheet, you can see we've got a full design team. So Freeman French Freeman, we're in Burlington, we're the architects. Ruggiano Engineering of St. Albans is the civil engineer. Sam's been fantastic to work with. Hardy Structural Engineering in Colchester is our structural engineer. Pearson Associates in Waterbury is our mechanical. Geotechnical is Sanborn Head and Associates, and Peterson has been providing project management and cost consulting. So they've managed some of the RFP processes to get this thing out to bid for construction managers. That process is active as we speak. So just wanted to quickly go to the site plan. So not sure how much you can see on the screen, but this is Georgia Shore Road, and the existing town hall is quite a ways off the screen to the left. But we've located the building on the site in a way that minimizes disturbance to an existing ditch and to the existing woodlands at the north end of the lot. It's a quick walk from the next door building, which is the Old Town Garage. There are 26 parking spaces in front. There is going to be an electric vehicle charging station because that's energy code now, it's required. And views to the lake because it's a little bit uphill. The site requires a little bit of buildup. That extra charge you talked about in your warrants was for additional geotechnical engineering because the site has some challenging soils. The geotechnical engineer described it as 5 or 6 feet of good clay on top of clay the consistency of toothpaste. So the toothpaste was our challenge, but we've got some solutions to it, and we're looking to move ahead. And that's kind of the general big picture overview. I'm going to go to actually our 3D modeling software that we use for the project, and you can kind of see the 3D view of the project there. And what I can do with this, and I've sent to Carrie to share with the rest of you a 3D PDF file, so you can kind of do this on your own. But you can use this thing called a section box to cut away at the view and take a peek inside. So I'm going to kind of pull this down a little further and then flip this up. So you'll enter into a double height, kind of taller space. And I'll show you some pictures of what that's going to look like in a minute, with a large meeting room immediately on your left, and a smaller meeting room in the back with views back to the lake. These meeting rooms have multiple stage lighting to provide good lighting for different formats of meetings or presentations. We decided to just go with large flat screen displays as opposed to projectors because it's actually become cheaper to go that route. We've got a little kind of a countertop with a sink and a little mini kitchenette if there's any meetings that have coffee or anything like that. There's a public restroom facility here. The first thing you'll see on the right when you come in is the town clerk's office, and we've put Anna's desk where she's got visibility right through this window. There's a kind of rolling transaction window here, so they can close that down. There's even a drop box for documents being dropped off, could be used for ballots, things like that. A secured rated drop box. When there's nobody in the town clerk's office, if somebody's on break, there's an alternate window in the zoning office, so there's always staff available to watch the front door and direct anybody who comes into the building as to where to go. And this door here is kind of a control point. So that's a door where you've got kind of a layer of security you can buzz people through to access all of the various town offices. So the door to get into the town clerk's office is actually beyond that, down the corridor. And that provides access to an area to review records, to go into the vault. There's 2 compartments in the vault. The vault is, I believe, 4 times larger than your existing vault. So I know one of the driving factors between the town hall is that you're quickly running out of space for critical land records. The vault is a 4-hour fire resistance rated, cast in place concrete bunker that the rest of the building is essentially built around. The vault is not going anywhere anytime soon. And we've got a zoning office here, a planning office here, a general meeting space here, a staff break room that can double as another meeting space here, Carrie's office here, and the assessor's office here. So I want to take a break, ask if there's any questions about what you're seeing so far.
I just had a quick question. This is Erin. So for the access to the washrooms, it looks like the first door that folks would go through into that hallway, that one's not one of the secure doors. So folks that are in a public meeting, we'd still be able to grant them access to the washrooms without trouble.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually a code requirement for a fire barrier, a rated fire and smoke barrier between the what's called the assembly functions of the building, where all the meeting spaces are, and the office functions of the building. So that door is basically going to be held open all the time, and kind of pockets into the wall, so you might not even notice that it's there. But it's on special magnetic holders that'll close it in the event of a fire to protect the building and provide that separation of uses that's required.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to move on and go back to the PDFs and show you some of the lobby concept first. So this is standing in the lobby with your back to that zoning counter that I showed you, looking back towards the main entrance. So we've got this tall curtain wall entrance. It's all glass. You can see the back side of that beam that I showed you on the elevation with the signage on it. So it's all open, bright, airy, spacious, kind of a showpiece space for the town. You can have, kind of tourist information or things like that posted in here. You can kind of use this space for multiple things. This vestibule is an airlock. That's another code requirement, so that you have another layer to prevent the cold wind from blowing in, but it also gives you a spot where you can lock these inner doors and provide access to that drop box after hours, and people can come into the first door, drop stuff off in a place where it's not freezing cold, turn around and leave. You can also lock the outer doors if need be, but you've got control over how that's set up. And we've got some really decorative beams. The structure is above and kind of mimics this, but this is just kind of to provide some atmosphere to the space. So these will be, wood, very similar to the beam outside, kind of metal tie rods to hold them together, and some nice pendant light fixtures to give this space some real presence. It's got a stone tile floor. You can see what the light fixtures look like here that we've selected. This sliding glass window folds and collapses, so these 2 panels move and stack over that one. Same thing happens the other way, so you can have a big opening between this lobby space and the meeting space. If you have a really big public meeting that is going to have a big crowd, you can open up that meeting room and provide some spillover space into the lobby. So it's just kind of giving you maximum space utilization, but in order to provide some privacy in that space, we've had a lot of success in a lot of our commercial projects lately using these decorative window films. You can kind of see how this has a forest in the foreground and some mountains in the background. So it's a pretty affordable way to add some real interest to the space. And we're planning to do something similar to this with the Adirondacks in the background and St. Albans Bay in the foreground to really speak to what the town's about, and some of the key features of the town, to separate those spaces, and provide some privacy to the meeting space without making it totally opaque. So the next thing here is the finishes. So I'll just start in the bottom corner here. So this is it's a stone look ceramic tile in the main lobby space that's gray. The meeting space has this wood visual luxury vinyl tile kind of plank floor. Really one of the driving themes behind our entire design was to design a building that would be durable and long lasting. And that goes to the finishes as well. We didn't pick a lot of, bold and trendy colors. We picked things that would be, stand the test of time, and hopefully not get too dated too quickly. We worked with the building committee on this, but we do have some splashes of color in the building with some of these accent paints you see in the top corner here, but paint is really easy to change later on. So none of the permanent finishes are anything that's too of the moment, and they're also designed to be very easy to maintain and contribute to not only low maintenance costs, but a comfortable space. They're chosen to provide good acoustics and a healthy work environment. So we have operable windows. We have a highly efficient mechanical system that has energy recovery ventilation. So we'll have a bit higher than required fresh air ventilation, but it's all on an energy recovery system. So it's not dinging you on energy efficiency that way. The toilet rooms, the public toilet rooms, are also ceramic tile floor with an accent tile on the wall. We've used a lot of solid surface countertops in the spaces. That's what you might know as Corian. For the higher use spaces, just to ensure durability and a long life. The lesser used surfaces, we've used plastic laminate countertops that are assembled using what's called a post-formed edge. So there's nothing kind of glued on. It's all kind of factory assembled or shop assembled. Again, for really good balance of cost and durability. And I think that's kind of my summary. I've got all kinds of additional drawings that I can share if there's other questions. And I think I'm going to leave you by just flipping to the furniture plan. And I think the last comment that I have is that we worked really hard with the committee to ensure that not only is there space for the current staff, there's some room for growth built into the project. And the building is also designed to be expanded to the north. So I think everyone's done a really good job of making sure this is a building that meets the town's needs today, but will serve it for quite a while to come. And before you need to add on, and having that built-in capacity to add on to meet future needs should the town continue to grow as it has.
Thank you very much, Jesse. Does anyone have any questions for Jesse? Feel free to just speak up, because with a screen share, I can't see all of your faces.
I'm so excited. It looks so cool.
All right, so if there's no questions, which of course you can interrupt us later, I guess
That's not in the minutes. I'm gonna.
Hunter's turn.
Who is that?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. Nice to be here. I guess I will, since I've picked up on the fact that we've got some new participants here, can give a rundown of kind of the process. In addition to what Jesse had said, everyone on the building committee has been great. I got nothing but praise for everyone working together too, and just working through items and getting the design to the point it is now. And I apologize if this is a little bit of a recap for those that were here the last time I joined you all, but we've selected to go with the construction management delivery method, which is a little bit different than you would maybe the old school general contractor method. And that essentially means bringing in a construction manager that participates as a member of the team. And that is what was referenced earlier that we have been helping with in the qualifications process and what's now the proposal process, which is underway. So leading up to the bond vote, we got what is called DD, design development phase completed, more or less. And right at that point was where we did our estimate. We went out for the bond vote. And then from there, we're about probably halfway to being done with the drawings. And right now we're looking to get to utilize that construction management delivery method and get the construction manager on board right now. So we went through the qualifications process, got wrapped up last week, and we found that 7 local, all within an hour drive or so, local construction management firms have been pre-qualified. And as of last week, they received the request for proposal, which is essentially where we ask them to put some numbers to it, tell us how much it's going to cost for their services. So initially the RFQ, request for qualifications, is basically just assuring that they can handle the job. They're qualified, they can get it done for us. And then now we're asking them to add some prices to that. What's their fee going to be? What's their overhead, profit? All those elements come together in the proposal process. And that's what we're doing right now. We've had a lot of good input. We released it last week. Like I mentioned, everyone that was qualified was notified. I'm looking at the schedule now, so I'll just relay this to you. Released last Thursday. We allow them a little bit under a week to look everything over, get some questions put together, and they have to submit those questions to us by Wednesday at 2 p.m. And they have the most recent drawings, specifications, some sample contracts, so they can look all that over, ask their questions, and then us as the design team will review them probably at that Wednesday building committee meeting, although we might not have fully had time to let them sink in yet. And then the design team and the owner and the ownership team will collectively answer those questions. We have to release the answers by Monday, the 22nd. Plus or minus, if we need a little extra time, we have that built in to our proposal. And then by Friday, March 26th, we will be having a public, in the world of COVID, virtual public bid opening. And that's where we will find out who the apparent low bidder is. And then we'll review it, make sure there's no oddities, outliers, things that are concerning. They snuck any weird exclusions in on us or something like that. And then we'll be ideally making our proposal, us being the Peterson Consulting, and in congruence with talking it over with the design team, we'll be making our proposal and recommendations for the results to the building committee on Wednesday, March 31st. And before I kind of keep going on that process, that was one of the reasons I wanted to chat with everyone tonight, because we are operating under the belief that the building committee has the authority to act on those recommendations. And so I just want to put that out to the world. That's what we had talked about last week with Brendan and Carrie. And that's just wanted to give everyone a chance to comment on that if they see an issue with it or not. Feel free.
Carrie, would you like to add to that?
Well, no, Hunter, I guess I would. Yeah, Hunter and I and talked about this, and so did you and I, Brendan. I think obviously we're operating within a budget. We understand what our scope of work is. So I believe we've got a good relationship and we're doing things in a responsible way. I have the authority to do it. I just want to make sure you guys are comfortable that we're doing that. And if somebody wants to be involved, they certainly can.
Yes.
We're doing it all virtually. So
yeah, I'm glad Carrie added that. So
Yeah.
we have reserved the right to wait until Tuesday if need be, to notify the potential awardee. But it would be much more convenient if anyone that wanted to be in on that initial building committee wanted to come to that March 31st meeting, because this is all driven in the interest of time. Obviously, the faster we get them on board, the quicker we can get their input and finalize the design. So that's kind of the driving force here. Not trying to exclude anyone by any means, but just trying to save all the days we can moving into the construction season. And so that's kind of running on that. Mull it over. I can just give you a little bit more of where we're at in terms
Hunter,
of
before we move on from that, I'd just like to build consensus that it's okay with everybody.
Sure.
Committee select a CM. We're gonna hold everybody accountable to the RFP. The RFP also states that the town reserves the right to not select the lowest bid, basically. We can select a bid that's considered to be a higher, better quality product and for the town, even if it's not. So I think I could speak for the entire building committee. That Stan is still very much a part of. He attends all of our meetings. That we will follow, if given this authority, we'll follow the staff and our professional design team's guidance in making that selection. But I would say that I agree with Hunter that as we move forward, every day counts. If everybody feels good with that. Aaron, sorry.
I don't have a problem with that.
Just for the information of everybody on the select board, I've worked on a lot of projects with the state and been involved in some state procurement, and they follow the same methodology. They generally choose the construction management delivery method for large projects, and their criteria for judging proposals is aimed at selecting the best balance of cost and quality, and not the lowest price every time. So you've got a lot of precedent within Vermont for the process that Hunter has helped us develop.
Yeah, and this is written to mostly rely on the lowest bid, because that's where the numbers are easily quantifiable, but it also is written to be the lowest responsible and responsive bid. So if there's a irregularity or something doesn't add up, or there's things that are out of line, then that's complete grounds for dismissal. And this is really more falling on the side of professional services, similar to an architect, rather than a general contractor. Is not to speak negatively of them, but it's just not quite viewed the same way in terms of, if you get general contractor bids back, usually with a profession, with a public bid opening, it's straight down the line lowest bid, and this is not necessarily set up that way. So protects the town, protects the ownership team, and gives them a lot more leeway in getting the right team member.
So if we all feel good with that, let's move on, Hunter.
All right. Do you want to know more about that RFP specifically to build on that? Or is that just kind of eating up time?
I think we're all set for tonight, unless anybody has any specific questions about that RFP for a construction manager. We went through the RFQ process, and like Hunter said, 6 out of 7 firms qualified and are excited to move on to bid on this stage.
Actually, all 7 out of 7 qualified. So we've got a full board, and yep. And
so it was a typo.
Yeah, there was conversation, right. And we have all 7, and there's a lot of interest. We've already got some questions back, and it's in some ways it's a buyer's market right now. A lot of firms are pretty hungry, and so we're excited to see the results come in. And I guess I'm available to answer any other questions if anyone has them, in terms of the process or where we're at moving forward.
I'm just going to ask you, Hunter, if everything goes well, when would they break ground? When's the earliest that could happen?
So that's that's a tricky question at the moment because we're working through that soil scenario still. So I couldn't, I'm going to give you all too political of a take on that and not give you a straight answer because we got some more math and some more laboratory results to look through at the moment. But we're working through a few different options and hopefully sooner rather than later for certain.
Somewhere between April and December.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
Maybe even later, Brian. It is a possibility that it might not be till spring 2022.
Sure.
And it's a tough market out there right now in terms of escalations and things like that. And we're really hoping that some of the material costs settle down, which could be some benefit in waiting a little bit. There's a pretty substantial spike, particularly in lumber right now. Everyone that has been involved in those other meetings has heard me say it, that they're seeing like 5 times the cost of a structural sheet of OSB right now versus a year ago. So as more people go back to work and materials open up and we get supply chains opened up, we're hoping to see a lot more correction from where we're seeing right now. But the primary concern is that toothpaste layer of residual clay that's been there for 300,000 years that we're gonna address it in one way and make sure the building stays there a long time. That's the primary concern right now, without issue.
Brian, to give you a full update, that clay layer, our geotechnical experts, if they were here, would be able to explain it better than this, but the weight of this building can be felt up to 40 feet ground, I think is what Sean has said previously. And if we don't play our hands exactly perfectly when it comes to when we put the foundation in, related to how the ground's compacted, we could see some serious structural deficiencies in the building. And it could be serious, it could be not so serious, but we're not looking to build a 200-year building without doing our due diligence. So there's a few ideas. One that we're considering that could push the timeline out is preloading and surcharging, which is essentially removing any base layer of existing soil that needs to be removed, and then trucking in all of the crushed stone aggregate that we may use, and then surcharging on top of that would be bringing in maybe an additional 5 feet of stone over that building envelope to simulate the weight of the building. And then depending on the exact soil calculations, we could have to make that all sit surcharge for 6 to 12 months to settle that ground out. Now, our other option that we're exploring at the moment is using a lightweight stone material. It's not stone, it's crushed glass, called glavel with an L. I think I finally got that right.
You got it that time.
It's from New York City. The firm that manufactures it has actually looked into the industrial park here in St. Albans a few times in years past. So there's an option to truck that in and use that instead of stone. And then the idea is that you're taking away so much topsoil that weighs so much per cubic yard, and you're replacing it with such a lighter weight material. And then with even adding the building in with that lightweight material, it's the same or less weight than what was there previously, meaning that the ground won't settle underneath. So there's multiple options, and we're weighing costs and the timeline. But like Hunter said, we see it even in residential contracting. A $7 sheet of 7/16 OSB is now $32 and change. It's just crazy. So
yeah.
If we go the surcharging route, we think that we could capture some immediate savings versus the gravel, and then that waiting that 6 to 12 months could help those supply chains straighten out and bring pricing down to capture further savings. But at this point, the building committee agreed that it's time to probably push the pause button, get our CM on board, and then have that person analyze the situation and give us feedback. Because that's really the big value in the construction manager form of project delivery, as it's been explained to us.
Yeah, that's a really good summary, Brendan, actually. And to add to that, generally you would have, this being fast tracked, there was no opportunity to add that CM earlier, but in a lot of times when you go that route, you have them on board three years prior. Well, maybe you hope that's not the case. Maybe you're in the ground before that. But so this way we do get to capture that expertise they have, and some of their future insight as to what's going to happen in the market. And I think that we're not saying we're ruling out getting going soon. Everyone wants that for sure. So everyone's driving in the right direction. I just want to make the right move. So
I think just to drive that point home, we've had a lot of expertise involved in all of these decisions already. The CM's only going to give us, construction manager's only going to give us more. And in addition to these cost factors of either preloading or surcharging and waiting for the building to settle, or using alternate lightweight materials that add cost but make things faster, the volatility in the materials market, and then some of these options that take longer push us into winter conditions for construction, which is another cost factor. So having the construction manager on board is really going to help us choose the best path forward that provides the best value for the town, and that's really what everybody's searching for. And we don't want to make you guys wait. We know you've been waiting a long time, and that this is not the first time the new town hall has been proposed, but we were really thrilled to hear the 2-to-1 ratio that it passed by, and know there's a lot of excitement and momentum, and hitting pause might be a little painful, but it's all focused on, like I said, the best value for the town.
Does anybody have any specific questions for Hunter or Jesse? And if one escaped you tonight and you find yourself wishing you would ask something, you can always email Carrie a specific question or even a list. If you'd like to start attending our project meetings, they're Wednesdays at 3 o'clock. Now I think we just moved them from Mondays.
Correct.
So Jonathan, if you want to make a note of that, they're now Wednesdays at 3. I will say before we move on that the town has access to a very top-notch team of professionals. Jesse and his firm are the lead architects on City Place Burlington, probably the biggest project going in Vermont right now, especially in the news. I'm sorry, Jesse. Hunter, it seems like he's personally oversaw the construction of half of Essex. Every time something strange comes up that none of us have ever heard of, he says, "Oh, I haven't worked with it much, only like 10 times."
Oh, geez.
You know, these guys have been through the ringer. Jesse's still going through the ringer, and he's got an upbeat attitude, and it's nothing to get an email from him at 11:30 on a Friday night because the guy works so hard. So we have a top-notch group of people here, and we feel very fortunate to be able to work with them and have their guidance. This soils issue in particular is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that, Brendan. And it's not, I guess I would just add, and I'm sure Jesse would echo this, that it's not an uncommon thing. So don't, I guess it's these things happen and you work through them, and that's why it's good to have a good team.
Anybody, if anything comes up, just let Carrie or I know. We'll get the questions answered by the right people. Our project meetings are very informative and they're really interesting, especially if you have any interest in construction. We remind folks that they are publicly warned meetings that members of the public can attend if they so choose.
Yep. And so just to clarify, I think the question should come to me just to make sure that I keep track of them. That's all. Sometimes your days are busy, Brendan. All right, so I think we're good. Are you good to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. That's actually all I had under that section. I think we kind of killed that one. Under policies, we put that under there. One, just to remind the board members, they need to please review them and send Jen back the acknowledgement of receipt. There won't be a test on that, but we just want to get the acknowledgement that you actually have read it and you have the current version. Are there any questions on that? And the social media policy, I know it needs to be beefier. I haven't talked to Corey about it. We obviously had a different week last week, but actually Corey's still there. So I think we may need to update it. I think we put this in right after we started actively using Facebook, and it hasn't been touched in 6 years. So
Love that.
I don't know. Jen said she's having problems with her internet, so I don't know if she just came on.
Yeah, I've been booted several times, so I just signed out and came back on, so.
It didn't make a noise though, usually when that happens, but, so social media, if you have any suggestions, let me know, because I think by the next, well, obviously we can update the policy every meeting, but I'd like to not have this drag on for a month or two, so. The last thing is just regularly the select board will get copied on Act 250 applications. It's a different, I think a better change that they don't send you a phone book of information anymore, but if you see an application and you have questions about it, let us know a day or two in advance and we can get you some information. Now they kind of just give you a link and say, hey, if you're interested, go look at this application. For instance, the Barry Cowbell thing, they're expanding their admin area. Kind of generic. They showed us, you know, a site plan and things like that, but there's no action of the select board requested at this time, other than legally they have to let us know they're doing it. Some applications we have made comments on, but generally we don't do that unless someone has an issue with it.
Carrie, I just had a question from the policy section for personnel policy.
Oh, yes.
Are we, so it says, please sign personnel policy acknowledgement of receipt. So should we, like if we respond to Jen's email and say that we've read it, does that work in the short term, or can that be added to our stack of things to sign if we come to town hall?
Well, the last page of the policy has a form you can sign and scan back, or you can just bring it into town hall, or I never thought about that. I suppose if you, as a board member, if you just responded, I read this policy and copy and pasted the last paragraph of our receipt form, you could do that. We generally just keep a copy of that, but we should probably update it so it can be a fillable form. It's not right now.
Okay.
But we have someone on staff who can do that.
Great.
Yeah, so yes, we can.
Okay. I think there's also a way that we might be able to add our own little electronic signature as well if it's a PDF. So I'll take a look at that and see if I can manage that on my own too.
Okay.
So we had some Act 250 filings for Barry Cowbell and NMC.
Yep, that's it.
No action required, just a obligation that they warn us and copy us on certain filings. So does anybody have any questions for Carrie before we move on to schedule? Brian, how you doing? Your first meeting? Everything going all right?
Do we start yet? Yeah, I'm good. I'm keeping up here, I think.
Perfect. All right, so schedule, we have our next meetings Monday, April 5th and Monday, April 19th. The volunteer dinner, unfortunately, this year, same as last, has been canceled. Look forward to renewing that tradition in 2022. And also we'll have discussions about maybe something in the fall after vaccines have been distributed and we start to see how that societal shift works out for us. So if no one has any questions about the schedule, so my report is short and simple in the sense that I'd like us all to start thinking about how we'd like to deliver real shovel-ready projects for the Bay Area revitalization and water and sewer infrastructure. There's a lot of federal money being doled out right now. A lot of it's resiliency-based and couldn't be used for either of those two priorities, even if we wanted to try. But the rumor is that Democrats at the federal level will begin to work on a $3 trillion infrastructure bill after the American Rescue Plan has been administered. And the town really isn't positioned all that well. We don't have a shovel-ready project or any of the priorities that were on our list that was included at the end of the packet. And getting project shovel-ready is going to be labor-intensive for our staff. It's going to take up a lot of our bandwidth as a board. It's going to be expensive. We saw for the town hall project, we've spent about $265,000 by the time we're done in just pre-development costs for that $1.5 million project. So the thought is we have two areas to focus on that we've agreed are high-ranking priorities in water and sewer infrastructure and the Bay revitalization. And Bay includes a sidewalk from the new town hall that we know now on a 2-to-1 margin that we're able to build, thanks to our voters. So connecting that new municipal office building to the Bay Park is a big priority. If we can include some grant funding, maybe we could even connect the dock up to the post office. Really make some change for the Bay. We've got the stone house that needs a great deal of work to be fully renovated. We've studied extensively the Bay dock. We know what shape it's in, and we have some ideas on how we could make some upgrades to that to either raise it or just position it to last for a great long while. So I guess our two options are we can form subcommittees like we have for the town hall, which is a lot of work for the staff to manage, especially when you have a plethora of opinions in the room on each topic. Or we could decide that maybe Corey works water and sewer and Carrie works Bay revitalization, or vice versa, however Carrie decides, and that one of our meetings every month is dedicated to the Bay and one's dedicated to water and sewer, and that we work through consultants and expensing, spending some serious money on hiring qualified people to help us move these projects forward and get them to a shovel-ready status. We can make some serious progress on this year. Immediately apply for every grant dollar we can source, and at a bare minimum can start, moving along one project a year, or however fast our voters would support. But there's this board's desire, in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to utilize as much time this year as we can to get as many projects to the point where they could be built, so that we can actually see some of these initiatives become reality. So if anybody has anything to add, please do. But let's just start thinking about it, and it'll be on our agenda again, both the Bay revitalization and water and sewer infrastructure priorities beyond the first meeting in April. We'll try to formalize a strategy on how we plan to move those forward, if that works for everybody.
Yeah, that does sound pretty ambitious. I mean, especially with the town hall too. I'll definitely be curious to hear from staff as far as what, because I like the idea of us being able to get ready for when grant dollars can come down. But yeah, I don't want to wear us all too thin too. And not by us, I mean staff. We have to just show up every 2 weeks and think about things. So
Carrie and Corey, if you'd like to chime in now, please feel free, but we can talk about this again on the 5th.
Yeah, actually, Brenda did reach out to us in all fairness to say, hey, what do you think about this? I think Corey and I could probably handle pushing each one of these initiatives forward. It might mean, though, that some of that other list that had 20 or 30 things on it doesn't get pushed as hard, because initially, at least right now, I agree. I've heard rumblings that there's money coming, and this could be the biggest push of federal dollars that comes our way for 20 years. I'd really like to be ready, and I kind of feel like this is our time to dream a little and spitball to see, can we, for instance, add the Stonehouse renovation with the Bay Dock renovation with the sidewalk to the town hall into one beautiful project that doesn't have to be super expensive, but it's a cohesive project that we can all wrap our head around. Just for example, it's kind of exciting. The town hall project, to be fair, my biggest yank and angst was in November and December when I was trying to get the budget done, and it was decided that we didn't need a project manager. I was pulling my hair out and decidedly very unhappy about it, which I'm sure I didn't hide a lot. So at this point, once we break ground, it's really, our heavy lifting's been done. I mean, yes, there's weekly project meetings, but it's not that awful. It's just, we just have to wait until they get their work done. And they didn't say it, but I mean, we're hoping that we break ground in June or July, depending on that soil issue. So that's going to be a July through maybe February if we're on time. It's that length of a project. So
yeah, I'll speak with my other role in the community as well too. We're waiting to see what the guidelines are with these federal dollars going to municipalities at the state level. That being said, the exercise of having shovel-ready projects isn't going to hurt, because even if it doesn't, we don't get to them, you know, we have the plans on a shelf for future years, but I do know there's going to be a considerable amount of money for water, wastewater, and stormwater infrastructure coming, as well as other things. So I just think there's going to be, you know, even if we have $1 billion Vermont community to spend on Vermont communities, you know, from the state, there's going to be a $5 billion in asks, and we're not going to get anything if we don't have a proposal. So like Carrie said, dream, we may talk about 4 or 5 great ideas and may only get funding for hopefully one, but we move forward with that one. You know, we're not going to see, I doubt the last time we saw this kind of infrastructure investment was 2009. So it's been about 12 years. So these are once in a decade, once in a decade and a half type opportunities, you know, for us. And I think long-term, it's a discussion to always make sure you have shovel-ready projects, even if you're not going to necessarily invest in them in the future, or you don't think you're going to the next few years, but having stuff queued up. So when the opportunity comes, you can go get it.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. And I think those 2 priorities are really appropriate. I mean, the Bay is what makes St. Albans unique from so many areas in the state. And it's what's going to draw people here. And I would love to see it just improved. And then water and sewer infrastructure, I mean, that's really what's going to hold us back from developing. So they seem very smart directions to go in.
Thank you, Jessica. Anybody else have any comments they would like to add? So let's renew this discussion maybe a little bit more at length with some recommendations from staff on how do we tackle it on April 5th, and get the ball rolling. And you know, in the time frame between now and April 5th, I'll work with Carrie and Corey to try to identify some dollars on the books that we can appropriate right from the get-go without really tying ourselves down, and come up with some funding mechanisms, you know, both from the general fund and then maybe some impact fee dollars if we can. We'll see what we have available to us for the duration of this fiscal year and the next fiscal year to utilize to hire out consultants.
Brendan, the other piece I'll say too is there's still going to be grant opportunities from the state for scoping studies and other things. And these federal dollars are going to be spent over the next 3 years. So we don't know, I don't know what the legislature will decide, but, you know, speaking as this one of the 180 in the process, I think it would make sense for us to hold some you know, let communities plan for the next year and then award some of the dollars. So we may, you know, we'll wait, we'll know in the next 6 weeks how these dollars are going to flow, but, you know, we'll look for local matches, but I still think there's going to be state dollars available to do some of this planning work on these projects.
Thank you, Corey. It's nice to have Corey in the Senate. I will say, it seems like every time we talk about an issue, there's testimony on it the next day in one of his committees. We had a lengthy discussion about water and sewer. The next day, there was testimony on federal funding available for water and sewer infrastructure the very next day. So it's pretty awesome to have that resource. I know the city also has it, Mike McCarthy serving as a whip. So St. Albans, well represented. We appreciate it. If nobody has anything else to add, let's move on to other business. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring up? Seeing no hands fly up, we have an executive session for legal and personnel. If somebody would like to read the tongue twister, head into executive session. Let's just invite Carrie. I think Corey, you have another obligation, so.
I'm sorry, did you ask me to read that, Brendan?
If you have it, so someone could just.
I do have it. It just cut out right at that second. Sorry. So please make a motion to go into executive session to discuss legal, contractual, or personnel issues where premature general public knowledge of the subject matter would place the town or person involved at a substantial disadvantage. I further move to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss legal, contractual, personnel issues under Title 1, Section 313. Subsection A1, I can't see very well either apparently, of the Vermont statutes, and to invite the town manager.
So moved.
So is Corey invited?
No,
I'm out.
just Carrie. Corey had
Okay.
another obligation
Okay.
that he.
I was just wondering about elections.
Did you want to bring something up now?
No. No.
Want me
I
to
thought
think
you
about
were,
it and talk to you tomorrow? Or
what's that?
want me to talk to you tomorrow about the election stuff?
Yeah,
All right, I'll be down tomorrow.
thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Bye.
Corey, Anna, Jen, have a great night.
Thank
You
you.
too. Congratulations.
Jen, how-